Juliana.
Right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited. I'm Juliana. I'm a product designer at Monzo, and I've been there for just over a year, maybe a year and 4 months. And before that, I worked in consultancy, I've worked in gaming, and I've been a designer for over 10 years now, which makes me feel a bit old. But yeah. Cool. So I hope you really like GIFs and emojis, because that's all I've got. Seriously. Cool. So that was a nice show of love. But today, of course, I'm going to tell you a few stories about Monzo. So could you give me a show of hand if you're a Monzo customer? Yay, cool. Nice mix. So for those who don't know, Monzo is a bank that lives on your phone, basically. We don't really have branches, and we started the business just over 4 years ago. And we have over 2 million people using Monzo right now, which is absolutely amazing. We have an app that looks like this, and a card that's very hard to miss. So you might have seen it even if you don't use it. Cool. But what makes Monzo quite different as a bank, especially, is our mission to make money work for everyone. And we really believe that banking has been way too hard and frustrating for too long, right? And we want to help people feel more in control of their finances. And we're a bank that actually thinks of our customers, which is quite refreshing sometimes. And we have 24/7 human customer service to help you out. So anytime you need something, there will be a nice human there to help you out, which is really, really cool. So we focus on solving real problems, and we have transparency at our heart. And that's not just some bullshit we talk about in the media. It's actually true. It's like something that happens internally. And I will talk to you a little bit more about that. So yeah, and we have some really nice features at Monzo, like you can track your payments and transactions in real time. We're able to tell you if you're being overpaying your utility bills, for example, and give you like a nice nudge. We allow you to budget and track your spending, and you can save your money in pots, put them aside, and now you can actually earn interest in these pots, which is really cool. So yeah, but before I get to the nice bits of this talk, I want to tell you a quick backstory. Well, when I arrived in the UK about 9 years ago, I needed a bank, right? Pretty standard. And I didn't have a permanent address. I didn't have any history in this country. So do you think any banks would give me an account? No. Like, it was so hard. At some point, I managed to get an account with HSBC, which I felt like a miracle at that time. But after 2 weeks or something, I went to an ATM to get some cash, and the thing just swallowed my cards, like without telling me why, without notice, without anything. So I went into the branch and asked, so what happened here? Where's my money? Where is everything? And they said, well, we had to close your account because of X, Y, Z reasons. I don't even remember. So basically, yeah, they gave me a check, which was really cool because I had my balance in a check, but I didn't have a bank. So yeah, so it was really awkward. So this is how I felt when trying to get a bank account. It was really bad. So, and I believe we have grown in this environment where banks never really seemed to think about their customers, and we just had to get used with it, right? So I'm sure that everyone here has, some bad experiences as well, but I'm not going to stay talking about these things. We are going to move on. So yeah. So why am I telling you this? When I joined Monzo, I really wanted to do something different, something that means something, at least to me. And I wanted to use my skills to do something more meaningful. And saying that, I never thought I would work for a bank. But yeah, I could see that Monzo was doing things quite different, and I was really excited about that. Because why finance has to be so frustrating and painful all of the time? Why hasn't anyone tried to challenge the way that we interact with our money? So yeah, hope is necessary. And we are seeing some nice things happening here. Like, for example, Simon asked if anyone loves Monzo, and a few of you raised your hands, which is really cool. And that makes me think, you love Monzo, but it's a bank. Like, really? But it's really cool. And I'm not just talking about Monzo, really. I'm talking about all these other companies that are coming into the market to help people feel more in control of their money, because it's your money, so you should feel in control of it. And I think with this increase of challenger banks, for example, I believe that people are starting to feel a lot more powerful, and they expect a lot more from their banks and services. And for the first time, I think we're starting to see big banks kind of thinking about their customers and doing some really nice things in their apps as well. And I think this is amazing. This is great for all of us, right? So yeah, so that was my quick backstory, just to give you some context about where we are. But what I really like to do today is to share three things in particular. One is how we've been building our teams at Monzo. We are growing so fast. We onboard over 20 new employees in our offices and 50,000 people every week. So it's kind of insane. And how do we move fast but in control in the product teams when building new features? And how we're keeping up with this crazy growth while ensuring a healthy culture in our company. Right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Monzo looked like when I started just over a year ago. That was the whole company. And this is when we started hiring lots of people for customer operations. We were growing our user base and we needed more people to help them out, right? But the product team itself was still quite small at that time. And there was 3 designers, Hugo, Xander, and Voco, which are, they're some amazing people. And that was me, yay. And at that time, we were just finishing migrating our users from prepaid into main accounts. And that felt like the Everest at that time. So yeah, this is where we are now. And I think it's probably a little bit bigger now. We have over 800 people working for Monzo, and the design team turned into a design discipline. And now we are 31 people between product designers, visual designers, and user researchers. And we look like this. Yeah, we are a cool bunch. And here's Bingo, our most beloved office dog, but that's unrelated, so moving on. Cool. Sorry, I'm not going to be talking about Bingo here. Cool, so remember when I mentioned we had a smallish product team? There was actually 2 teams, right? One was product, which was a team looking after your main account, budgeting, pots, joint accounts, and things like that. And there was revenue, which was where I was working, and we would look into savings accounts, overdrafts, loans, and partnerships, things like that. And we were growing super fast, and we were constantly hiring, so we ended up with these 2 massive teams at one point. And we started learning what worked for us and adapting. For example, we formed a team to work on CAS, which is the current account switch service, and build that into the app. And there was a small team with a shared goal, and it was awesome. It was so easy to prioritize and to get things done. And after that, there was the model that we kind of adopted everywhere else in the company. And we didn't really invent this model, but it worked for us. And so we don't have teams formed around features, for example. We have teams, squads formed around outcomes. And just I think until February or March this year, we looked like this. So we had some squads in growth, working in things like referrals and bringing more people to Monzo. We had some squads in the main account, making your Monzo account really amazing. Some people in savings, looking at partnerships, few squads in lending, working on loans and overdrafts and helping people that way. And 2 teams focused on customer operations in different ways. So many teams. And at that point, we started thinking more of organization scaling, right? We had so many different new problems. We had new office, loads of new people being onboarded every week, new processes, so many Slack channels, which we still do actually, and so many contexts to be shared. And of course, we had new squads with new outcomes, right? So we created a team to focus specifically on organization scaling, right? And Jonas, who is one of our co-founders, he took a lead on that, which was really cool, and some really nice changes started to come in to help us out. So here's where we are now, and this is how we look right now as a company. So we adopted the collectives model, which is similar to what Spotify has with tribes. And under each collective, we still have few squads, but now we have that unified shared of context and similar goals, which is really, really helpful. And that's what works for now, at least. Cool. This is my favorite GIF in the world, by the way. But yeah, what does it mean then to grow so fast in such a small period of time and with so many constant structural changes, for example? Well, it means a lot of work, for sure. And you have to be adaptable and honestly really patient at times. It's not always easy and colorful, right? And context is ever changing and many new complexities arise as the business grows. So things like regulation and governance, things that we didn't know before, now they play a big part in the company as well and needs to be considered. So, but how do we work in a squad level? We have a product designer, product manager, front-end engineers, iOS and Android, back-end engineers, user researcher, and data scientists. So each squad at Monzo has their own goals, which is really, really helpful. And these goals are always aligned with the company goals. But what helps us move really fast and keep up with the change of context is that each squad is empowered to create their own ways of working, their workflow. They choose what kind of features they want to work on and what kind of problems they want to solve, which is really, really cool because we don't really rely on layers and layers and layers of approvals. For example, we try to get things done really fast. So we try to communicate really well between squads as well, to share the context, to share learnings. And we also have a weekly company meeting that we call the all hands. So we all get together at Monzo and some teams share some work in progress, make announcements. And what's really cool is that we have a Q&A every week with our CEO, Tom, and we get to ask him anything that we want, which is really interesting sometimes. People ask him really weird questions sometimes. So yeah, however, sharing the work in progress from teams in a company level may not really be optimal now because there are so many people. So each collective might have their own rituals, right? Or their own all hands, or their own critiques and things like that. But everyone in the company is invited. So if you want to go, you can just go. So yeah, speaking of context, I've learned that context is key at Monzo, right? And it surely is in most organizations. Sorry about that, it was really bothering me. So we try to talk to each other a lot as squads, as colleagues, and we have the all hands, we have squad rituals and one-on-ones, but it's really hard to keep up. And we are known to be a super transparent company, but it definitely comes with a price. For example, we don't really use emails. I mean, we have emails, but all the communication, everything happens on Slack. It's all there if you want to watch it. So it's really cool and tempting, actually, because you want to know what's going on. There are so many nice new things happening and you want to watch it, but it can get really distracting at times. So yeah, but I think you've got the picture. We're a young company growing super fast and we're constantly changing. But when it comes to the work in a squad level, given that we are empowered to work on everything that we feel like it's right for our customers, there's one thing that hasn't changed at Monzo, and I really hope it will never change. And that's what I really want you all to take from this today and hopefully help you frame your challenges within your teams as well. Think about your goals as a team, as a company, in your projects. and frame each day or each sprint with this question. What is the most impactful thing we can do today in order to achieve this goal? This is what's been helping us at Monzo to create really nice features that helps our customers and moving really fast at the same time. For example, what can we do today? What is the most impactful thing that we can do today in order to get more people to refer friends at Monzo, or to make saving spots more discoverable in the app, or get more people to use overdrafts, or get more people to use Monzo as their main account? So we frame the problems like this and try to find the most impactful things that can help us at that moment. So, for example, creating a backlog of ideas can be super helpful, and you can do that with ideation sessions in your teams, and having that backlog can help you answer this question a lot faster. But whatever you decide to do, make sure that you create things that make sense to people. Always ask this question as well. It's so important. We all have businesses goals and businesses requirements, but when you put people at the center, things just feel really right. And that's what we try to do at Monzo with every feature that we create. So yeah, but now that we have asked that question, what's the most impactful thing that we can do? How do we learn if our assumptions were right or wrong? What do we do next? I think it's really easy to fall into that trap of like polishing and improving a feature even before you know if it's really going to work or make sense to people, or get you any results. So we believe that one of the best ways to test hypotheses and challenge assumptions is to put things in front of people as early as possible. Of course, it doesn't need to be in front of your whole user base. For example, it's really hard to control the damage if you do that, right? So we try to do this in specific cohorts, certain groups of people or small percentages of our customers. And this allows us to track and measure success in a really effective way, because we work very closely with the data team in these experiments. But I think that what makes the whole difference is that you need to reach out to people in person to understand, to get some qualitative feedback as well, and understand what went well and what could be improved. And from there, we're definitely able to make, much better decisions, iterate and improve. So yeah, one of the ways that we test things really early is through labs. I'm not sure if you ever tried. So this is basically a space in the app where customers can turn on certain features. And what's really cool about this one is that we can set the expectations really right. So people know that these features, they are a work in progress. They are not complete, they are not perfect, but we still do that so we can get as much feedback from real customers and real people using the features at that time. We're actually currently testing our new app navigation. Many things are going to change, so you might be able to find that in your app, which is really cool. I think it's on both platforms as well. So yeah, shipping and learning is great, but sometimes it can be really embarrassing and it can go really wrong. We can't get right all the time, right? So I really want to share with you a very cringy example, so you don't think it's always easy and nice at Monzo. So a few months ago, we asked that question at the team, right? What's the most impactful thing that we can do today? And in that case, to increase our loan awareness in the app. So we had some ideas in the backlog, and one of them was to potentially use a banner in pots with specific goals. We decided to target pots with holiday goals, which made sense at that time. Like if you have a goal to go on holidays, we can help you reach that goal by offering you a loan, so you can potentially lock down those ticket prices and hotels, for example. It seems like a fair idea, and it was quite easy to build. Well, I think it's because I'm about to show you something really cringy, so I'm like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. It's my body telling me not to do it. Sorry about that. So yeah, we shipped this, and our community forum went on fire. So we had people saying things like, this don't seem friendly, is a cynical approach to make your money work for Monzo. Or this is really bad, please stop it. Or this is a new law, the fields are really bad. This is a disgrace. I mean, people can be really mean. Like, someone actually wrote this, and yes, it's true. But we've learned something, right? Yes, we did. And this happened in the forum, so we needed to give people kind of an explanation and try to explain why we were doing this. And this is one of our PMs kind of explaining what was behind this idea. And at the end, actually, most people were really nice and they understood what we were aiming for. Anyway, this helped us learn a lot. And at the end, of course, we decided to remove the feature. And yeah, maybe the idea wasn't too bad, but the way that we approached may not have been the best. Right. This is another great feature that we tested in labs. It's called shared tabs. I'm not sure if you used it. It's a great feature to split costs between groups. And for example, if you're having a pizza party, someone is responsible to getting the pizza, someone the drinks, or someone the snacks. So you can create a tab, combine the payments, and then share evenly between all of you. And we shipped this super early because we really wanted to get more insights on how people were using this feature, if they would use the feature at all. So we got loads of useful feedback, and it helped us understand a lot better how people interact with something like this. So we had people giving very specific feedback on how this wouldn't be useful to them. And we had some nice ideas about how to improve how you manage your tab, for example. And this person was sharing some thoughts on renaming a tab, which was a really cool idea, or giving the ability to edit the amount each one owes, because sometimes it's not really equal, or someone have paid in cash or things like that. So yeah, and we got a few thumbs up, which is always nice as well. And yeah, shipping fast and learning can go really well sometimes. And here's a great example of a feature that we created during something that we call Monzo Time. Monzo Time is one Friday of every month that we can work on anything that we want. I mean, it has to be Monzo related, but it can be something that's not necessarily in your roadmap or related to your squad work, right? So you can post an idea in a channel, for example, and try to form a team around that and just work on that for the whole day. This started with engineers only, and now everyone takes part, which is really cool. But what I'm trying to show you is, this is a great example. This is a feature that we created to allow people with gambling issues to block the transactions from any gambling merchants and things like that. And what's really cool about this feature is that if you want to turn it back on, it's not just like a toggle. You need to talk to one of us, and it will be someone who specializes in vulnerable customers, for example. And even if you you kind of need to tell them why you want to do this, why you want to turn it back on, and it won't be straight away as well. It will take at least 48 hours and something like that. But it's really interesting that now we built this in a day-ish, and we have now over 100,000 people using this feature, which really helps us understand the size of the problem as well, which is really interesting. And seeing things like this in the media, like, it's amazing. Like, we're actually helping people change something quite painful in their lives with such a simple feature, right? And it makes us think why all the other banks are not doing this. They should do this to protect their customers, right? So yeah, so cute. These are some of the infamous. It's amazing, I love it. There's a cat at the end that goes with them. I know, it's perfect. So yeah, but there's something extra I would love to share with you today. This is something I feel really passionate about. Creating a healthy and safe place to work where people can feel empowered can make amazing things to your teams, right, and to your company. And it can be really easy if you really care about it. I have worked in nice places in the past, but Monzo feels quite special because we care a lot about the people that we bring into the teams. And that's our little secret. We try to always hire nice people with a positive attitude, people who are inclusive and people who are willing to work hard, to commit and compromise. And the reason why I tell you this is because I do believe that great work and collaboration starts by making sure you bring nice humans into your teams. Or animals, they're much better than humans actually. But they can already help you do the things you need to do at work, right? So if you try to foster a positive and inclusive environment in your team and in your companies, people will spread this in your company culture. So it can be really, really powerful. So do think about that. So here are my takeaways. Work on something meaningful, at least to you. That's what matters. Listen to your customers. Make an effort to get to know them, and that's the only way you will come up with the right solutions. Have a clear goal as a business, as a squad, in a project, but be realistic. Create achievable goals. Ask your team on every stand-up, on every planning, what is the most impactful thing that we can do today in order to achieve this? Ship and learn with care. Put things in front of people. Track, learn, improve, and repeat. Be humble and be kind. It's actually, you don't need to like everyone, I mean, of course not. But be humble and be kind. Be nice to your workmates. And this is a really important one. If something is not going so well, focus on the problem. Don't blame people. I truly believe that being nice and kind is a lot easier than the other way around. And it will improve your mental health and the ones around you as well. So be hard on problems, not people. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. For hiring. Thank you.